Friends, I have great pleasure in welcoming you to the 27th annual general meeting of this company. The annual report of the company for the year ended March 1964 has been with you for some time. The profit for the year bears the mark of a part of the period of the strike in the Kolkata factories of the company from 17th December 1963 to the end of May 1964. However, your directors have decided that as the decline in profits has been due to an abnormal occurrence, the company should draw upon its reserves to pay a dividend on equity shares, although a lower one at 8%. This is considered equitable having regard to the overall responsibilities of the company. I am hopeful that in the course of the year, the company will be able to replenish its reserves while compensating the investors adequately. I should to begin with make a reference to the most unfortunate strike which the company had to face determinedly. A broad analysis of the causes may help to prevent a recurrence of such unfortunate events. The strike affected not only the company's profit but also the country's export earnings. It caused enormous loss running to over a crore of rupees to the workmen in terms of loss of wages, bonus, etc. The government lost large amounts of excise duty and direct and indirect taxes. The strike certainly did not win any rewards for the workmen. The demands which were the ostensible cause of the strike had already been reviewed by the West Bengal government and some of them had been referred to the Industrial Tribunal for adjudication. The same position obtains after the strike. On the other hand, the tempo of production achieved over many years was broken and production-based earnings of workers have been maintaining a low level. There is no work for a larger number of workers and as violent activity must feed on its own perpetrators, including many basically good honest men, have had to be charged for indulging in violence and intimidation. This picture of desolation and disruption in an undertaking which has been known for its very high remuneration levels and progressive personnel policy is certainly most unfortunate. I must repeat what I said last year here that political and educational considerations must give way to the paramountcy of the needs of working men and the industry if labor leadership is to be meaningful and constructive in the economy of the nation. During the year, there has been much evidence in the country apart from our own strike to show that there is more preoccupation on the part of a section of our labor leadership with political and other extraneous considerations than with the ultimate good of the working people and the industry. It is clear that labor leadership needs to have a fresh outlook in the matter of labor relations if the working class and the economy of the nation are to be spared the tribulations brought about by trade unionism having political overtones. I consider the workmen of this company capable of making a dynamic shift in this matter as they have shown dynamism in the past on so many other occasions. Of the several factors in the economic situation making for what is now recognized as an economic crisis, the foremost pertain to food production and prices. Responsible people in all walks of life have their own analysis of the situation. I am not a defender of the any antisocial businessman, but if a disease is not rightly diagnosed, the cure may be hard to come by. There may or may not be some hoarding of food grains and other agricultural produce at the primary level of the producer or at the secondary level of the distributor. A part of this hoarding must, however, be distinguished from normal stocking, for unlike green vegetables which are bought for day-to-day consumption, food grains are harvested 2 or 3 times in a year and stocked for consumption in the coming months. With some hesitation, I would like to suggest that the government might have a second look on some of the so-called social objectives, at least so far as agriculture is concerned. There is no question that we have to increase our yields from land and a great many of our policies may satisfy ideology in some quarters, not responsible for results, but may not give the much needed food that the people of this country need. Socialism, democratic or otherwise, or communism, or even capitalism may remain a paper satisfaction for the people if they fail to make for more production and availability of goods. Another problem of our country is expensive and unproductive investment. Unless capital investment is done with stringent economy and unless an overall return on total investment exceeds the economic cost of the investment, the economy of the country is bound to be under continuing severe strain. It is a matter of satisfaction that the Prime Minister has already instituted studies for determining the extent to which our economy can bear the load of gigantic long-term investments. I have no doubt that this will result in a review of national priorities with a view to upgrading projects which will yield goods and services in a relatively short time, thus countering inflationary forces and facilitating further investments from earned surpluses. The other kind of unproductivity arises from confusion about the character and nature of profits. There seems in some lobbies in our country a view that it is a crime to make profits. I submit that on the other hand it should be considered an economic crime to make losses. The idea that business profits are good for the economy is difficult for many to accept. What the critics of profit say on the surface is that business aims not at helping people but at making profits through people. Now, the relationship between business profits and economic growth is basically very simple. Profit determines investment for you obviously cannot invest from losses and investment is essential to growth. The matter of rising costs of manufacture is certainly one of alarm. The cost price squeeze situation about which I referred last year has worsened for industry in general.